Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We're going on a seriously fascinating, maybe even a little unexpected journey today. We're taking the high-octane, incredibly produced pop track ZEN by Jennie, and we're totally translating it. But not into another language, well, kinda. We're translating its vibe into the profound classical Chinese perspective of Wang Yongming's philosophy of mind. Crazy combo, right? But it turns out surviving the intense pressures of modern pop stardom and achieving enlightenment back in ancient times, yeah, they actually have a lot more in common than you might think.
I mean, when you hear that opening lyric, I'ma keep it Zen, it just instantly sets a mood, doesn't it? It drops this super meditative, almost wabi-sabi vibe right in the middle of a really intense beat. But what we're gonna do in this explainer is go way beyond just the surface of a catchy hook. We're about to completely translate the entire attitude of this modern English track into an ancient framework. We're asking the big question, what actually happens if we treat this song not just as a global pop hit, but as a literal modern philosophical manifesto, a blueprint for taking back absolute total control of your own inner world?
And to wrap our heads around that, we step into our first philosophical stage, commanding the inner mind. Now, what's really interesting about this is how perfectly it maps out. When the song commands down now, directing those disruptive elements in the music video, it is literally mirroring Wang Yongming's ancient instruction for silencing restless thoughts. The classical translation for that is step down, cease immediately. Think about it. Those men in black in the video, they perfectly represent the chaotic, stressful thoughts that constantly crowd our own minds. And right from the jump, the artist is asserting complete, absolute authority over them.
Which brings us right to a foundational concept in Yongming's philosophy, the unmoved mind. This is the ultimate state where your mind is the absolute master of your body, remaining completely unshaken by external pressures, haters, or distractions. So when the song drops the lyric, "Nobody gonna move my soul," this is exactly the philosophical state she's channeling. It's so cool because true power, it doesn't come from controlling the outside world, right? It comes from having an inner core, an unmoved mind that external forces simply cannot touch. No way.
But what actually happens when that mind is really put to the test? Well, that brings us to our next stage, transcending external judgments.
Just listen to this modern lyric. I ain't what you think about me. It is classic, unapologetic pop attitude. But if you translate that into classical philosophy, you get this deeply tranquil, profound statement. The me you perceive is not my true original face. Both of these statements, centuries apart, completely reject external definitions. They're both looking at the world and saying, hey, your perception of me, it has absolutely nothing to do with my actual reality.
This attitude maps perfectly, like one-to-one, onto the Yangmin concept of mind is principle. This is the belief that your mind is entirely self-sufficient. It already possesses all the necessary truths, and here's the kicker. It requires zero validation from the outside world. None. If you've noticed the recurring lotus imagery surrounding this song, it completely aligns with this Eastern philosophy. The lotus blooms beautifully, right? But it's rooted deep in the mud. It means you can exist in the messy, chaotic mud of public opinion and the pressure cooker of modern life, but you just let those opinions flow right past you without any attachment. You remain completely pure and untainted. And here's the thing. This growth, it happens exactly during those hardest times. The lyric "In the dark, I grew" translates so profoundly into the classical idea, in the profound darkness, my nature grows on its own. Notice how the singer talks about having a thick skin layer like chains on chains? I love this. She treats massive external pressure the exact same way she treats wearing jewelry. Actually, scratch that. It's more like armor. Instead of letting the darkness or the pressure crush her, she transforms that adversity into a protected, safe space for her own inner growth. Our source material connects this directly to the philosophy of extending the good knowing. It's this powerful idea that you have an innate moral conscience, an inner strength that naturally functions and even thrives in the darkest, most adverse circumstances. Just like a plant that somehow, against all odds, finds a way to grow in the pitch black. Your inner strength naturally expands when it's tested by hardship. The pressure doesn't break you. It actually activates your inner power. Okay, so how do you actually do this every single day? Let's move to and see how this builds into our third stage, practicing in the present. Take the lyric, presence, bless. It translates beautifully to, living in the present moment is heaven's blessing. What really grounds this for me is that the artist herself has this well-known, real-life habit. Before these high-pressure, massive stadium performances, she takes just a few minutes to meditate, to reset, and to bring herself entirely into the present moment. She doesn't need to fly off to retreat on a quiet mountain. She finds her absolute center right there, amidst the chaos backstage.
And honestly, this is the literal embodiment of the Yangming concept of tempering in practice. Wang Yangming famously realized that true cultivation, the real inner work, it doesn't happen in isolated silence. If you only ever practice being calm in a perfectly quiet room, well, your calm is going to be pretty fragile. Real philosophy happens right in the middle of the chaotic tasks and challenges of daily life. Bringing a meditative, centered state into a high-stress modern workplace, whether your workplace is a corporate office, a coffee shop, or a massive pop concert stage, that is the ultimate modern application of tempering in practice.
When you actually practice this, your mind becomes incredibly sharp. The aggressive pop rap delivery of shoot, shoot, shoot 100 perfectly reflects a mind where thought after thought is like an arrow, hitting the mark every single time. We are contrasting this aggressive, punchy modern delivery with the intensely focused, sniper-like clarity of a perfectly aligned mind. It's not about violence or aggression at all. It's about absolute, unwavering precision.
So the crucial point here is that this all points to the unity of knowledge and action. It's this incredible state where awareness and action happen simultaneously. The exact second a thought arises, you're aware of it, and boom, that awareness instantly translates into flawless action. Hitting 100 in the song, that means achieving a state where the mind is completely pure, totally free of hesitation, and perfectly aligned with natural law. There's literally zero gap between knowing what to do and doing it perfectly.
All of this amazing buildup brings us to the deepest, most profound philosophical concept in our source material, the ultimate inner light. The super colloquial English lyric, "Can't be two of one," strips down so beautifully into a profound, ancient classical Chinese translation, non-duality. Just let that sink in for a second. It is the absolute distillation of both the modern song's core message and the ancient philosopher's lifelong realization.
And that brings us to the ultimate realization, nothing outside the mind. This means that the self and the world, your knowledge and your action, the mind and the principle, they're all completely unified as one. They're not two separate things. When you reach this state of inner light, there's no separation between you and your environment. All those external pressures, the haters, the endless noise, they aren't separate things out there attacking you. Your internal sovereignty is so absolute, so rock solid, that the entire world simply gives way to your inner light.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we've been talking about, summarizing our whole journey. It perfectly maps modern pop onto 16th century tenets. As you'll see, we went from down now, which translates to tempering your mind in the present moment. We saw how I ain't what you think perfectly aligns with the mind being its own self-sufficient principle. And finally, how can't be two of one expresses that there is literally nothing outside the mind. It proves, without a doubt, how modern pop lyrics, full of all that bravado and energy, seamlessly connect to deeply ancient meditative philosophy.
Which leaves us with this final, really important question. We've seen how a global icon uses these ancient principles to navigate the most intense spotlight imaginable. So, when the noise of the world gets way too loud in your own life, how will you use this philosophy to reclaim your inner sovereignty? The truth is, you don't have to be a pop star, and you certainly don't have to be a 16th century sage to practice the unmoved mind. Next time you feel the pressure creeping in, just remember, tell those chaotic thoughts down now and find your absolute center. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. I really hope this helps you find your own inner light. Catch you next time.